guys, and welcome back to another video. So I was already sketching in my sketchbook a little bit and kind of just doodling, and I thought it would be fun to just take you along with me while I kind of finish up this spread. So let's go ahead. I need to go find my binder clips as well. And yeah, I did a little bit of sketches of my OC Masaki. Not sure how well you guys can see at the moment, but I have some kind of like summer-ish kind of doodles, and I just wanted to draw him for some reason with like a pool floaty, life rings, I guess. And I've already chosen my colors. So we have kind of like a bright orange. I have a, I guess like what I would consider like Masaki's colors. So a warmer color and a cooler color closer to like teal, and then my warmer color is either like an orange or brown, a pink, or something of that kind of color range. And I feel like that fits Masaki quite a bit, and it just kind of helps delegate the colors into his color scheme. And then I have these, which we'll use a little bit later, which you'll probably see why I chose two colors, even though I try my best to limit colors when I do marker spreads. But I was still thinking whether or not I was going to use the Energel Klena for the line art, or if we should choose a just like a darker color to kind of complement the entire spread, which I am kind of leaning more towards just because I kind of want this to look a little bit on the softer side. Let's go ahead and choose one of the colors first. Also, apologies, I'm filming at night, so the lighting might be a little bit weird in terms of shadows. But let's go ahead and look into here to see what color I want to do for kind of our line art. So usually I would choose it to be my darkest color and something that complements these, which I feel like I'm just leaning towards one of these. I think it works pretty well. So let's go ahead and I'll zoom in onto the spread so you guys can see my sketches a little bit easier. I did end up using the Pilot Color Eno and the color red for the sketch part. So next up we are going to fill in our flat colors, and then we can go ahead and work on our line art to complete our spread entirely. So this is kind of the spread that we have. So I do have a bunch of chibi versions of Masaki kind of surrounding this main version. I wasn't really gonna plan to do a whole spread, but it kind of just ended up that way. So let's go ahead and start with our warm color. I think I'm also going to use this for his pool floaty. Yeah. So initially, I was not going to record this particular session. I did have a different set of footage I was going to use, but you know, this is okay. It's been a little bit since I've done like a real talking video, I feel like, so I guess his hair is going to be this color. The kind of like orange color that I chose is a little bit highlighter-y-esque. It is a little bit softer than what I would consider like a highlighter orange, but I kind of found it the lightest orange that I had in terms of value, so I didn't want to go too dark when I was like choosing any of the colors for Masaki's color palette for today. This is where his knee is gonna be. So another thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit is that I did set out my goal to be finishing my sketchbook before my birthday this month, but I'm going to push it and give myself until August, because I do have, I guess I'll show you guys at the very end if you happen to stick around, the new designs for the blank notebooks. So I might want to try my best to aim to finish this sketchbook around that time, just because I do want to use one of the new notebooks as my current sketch, or like for my next sketchbook, I should say. But yeah, I am very close to finishing the sketchbook, but I like to record the last page and do some kind of like goodbye or like a final page to match the start of the sketchbook as well. So to give myself enough time to do that, I think doing it in August would be a little bit more optimal for me. Switch over to our minty-ish color. A certain kind of color range, even if he changes clothing. So kind of outside shirt will remain as this green. It also helps because his eyes and like his earrings are also similar in color. I guess I could make this cover his hand. Kind of his sleeve and shirt color right here. Or color? Shapes, I guess? I guess his shorts should be the skin tone too. I just don't know if this color really suits this. But for better distribution of color, I think this might be the better choice. I'm trying to think if I can do his goggles. Maybe I'll do that in one of the blue colors. So I think that's it for our green, which isn't too much, but the fun thing we can do with the blues. So what I'm gonna do first is start blobbing in with our light blue, and then we can go ahead and do more detailing with the dark blue a little bit later. Hopefully I remember how to do these. I think there's like more of a pattern that you can probably follow that might yield you a better look, but I'm gonna do these fairly random. This marker does feel a little dry though. Feels a little bit more scratchier than some of the other markers that I have. And this blue isn't like super blue. It's kind of like has more of a greenish tinge to it. So it might even look a little bit similar to this one, but it is one of the lighter colors that I own in this set. I think I did these kind of patterning for a different spread in the past, where I drew, I think it was Kokomi, probably. Almost looks a little bit like leopard print as well. Okay, so now that we have all of this one kind of more or less filled in, I'm gonna go ahead and pull out our darker blue, which is this one, or I guess like our mid-tone blue. Our mid-tone blue, because the darker one I'm gonna be using for our kind of outlines, and we'll see how that looks. But what I'm gonna do is, inside these already made blobs, we can go ahead and add more blobs on top, which I have to do a little bit more careful. Just because adding more wet areas on top of another wet area isn't exactly the best. I don't know if this is looking correct. Maybe I'm doing the blobs incorrectly. Maybe I need to do like larger shapes. With the patterning that I'm doing, I actually kind of like the darker one just being kind of floating in the middle right here. So maybe I will try not to touch the bottom and the top too much. Let's add a little bit down here. Looks kind of fun like this. Hopefully when I start to add when I add the line art, it'll kind of tie everything together so it looks a little less botched. I said I was going to use this for something. Oh, right. This marker will not stay. I wanted to add this for his goggles. I'm gonna add a little bit more orange to his hair. Okay, so let's go ahead and zoom in and we'll do all the detailing. All my markers will not start rolling. We'll add all the detailing and stuff with this marker and see how it looks, because hopefully it's not too mid-tony compared to the rest of the colors and it's dark enough to stand out. So let's start with our big Masaki and then we'll do all the little chibis afterwards. Kind of sitting at an awkward angle, so we'll see if I can even fix up this face. As much as I can, at least. So I think it's dark enough to a certain extent. I'm gonna try my best not to accidentally chew through the paper though. So when doing line art, I like to try to take my time and do it so that things are a little bit more on the cleaner side, but also I don't want to end up with too much of like a messy line arting phase, if that makes sense, because the colors are already messy. My sketch is kind of messy, so in order for me to kind of tie everything together neatly, I will have to make sure that my lines that I want to stand out are not going to be super confusing, and I have to kind of be a little bit more careful on what I'm choosing to outline and what I'm not. Like right here, I kind of want to make his mouth a little smaller, so I might add in a little bit of warmth. Yeah, I don't know if that helped. Technically, I could change it. Do this. His mouth just looks huge. I don't think it was the worst that I could have done, but probably could have fixed it up a little bit better. Because I think his mouth is also not really in the center. It's okay. The thing is like, I want to be a little less attached to certain sketches in my sketchbook, and I think that's like what's putting pressure on me as well, is that like I don't love anything in my sketchbook currently, so I feel like I'm still trying to find something that's gonna be like, wow, I really like this one, therefore I don't really dislike this sketchbook entirely. Not exactly what I wanted the sketchbook to pan out to be like, I guess. I don't know. Actually, I really like this kind of, it's like mostly blue. It has like a little bit of green tinge to it with this orange. I think it looks really pretty. Because I did not decide whether or not this was a cup or like a plastic cup or a glass cup that has like a design or anything about it. I'm gonna ignore that actually. I don't think... no, maybe I will put it in. I'm trying to think when was the last time I did a marker spread. I'm pretty sure it wasn't too long ago. I don't know if I really enjoyed it at that time. For some reason, I'm enjoying this session a little bit more. Fixing up some of my colors here. Just being a little careful of not like over mixing the colors, just because you can see if you layer like the lighter colors on top of darker colors, it kind of like smudges into it, which isn't really ideal. Hatching and like cross hatching, stippling, dots or anything would also help just bring a little bit more interest into your line art. If you're doing something like this where it's like, I don't know, for me, maybe I prefer having some kind of texture to hide up some of the messier lines in a sense. What's your favorite thing currently to draw or doodle in your sketchbook, if you do keep one? Is it like OCs? Is it like random objects? Is it figure studies? Is it tend to gravitate towards when you're drawing in your sketchbook versus like if you do any other medium or like final pieces. Because I always thought that I was gonna do a lot more, like I mean a lot more graphite drawing because I miss it so much, but for the most part, other than the last few days, I don't think I did that much graphite drawing in the sketchbook. But I always like plan to, just never really follow through. Part of me feels like I also used this color scheme in like a previous sketchbook spread. Just don't know where it's from. A little bit of hatching to give a little bit more dimension to my pool floaty from Masaki. Are you guys like beach people or like the water? I feel like I was never really fond of it. It was like one of the things that I kind of regret not experiencing with my friends when we were in Japan is going to like onsens or like any of those spa type areas. Because one of my friends used to be like a lifeguard, so she did a lot of swimming. She also really enjoyed it. And I'm sure my other friend just enjoys like the water for the most part. But I don't know how to swim, so maybe that's why I'm a little bit deterred from going into the water. Just gonna add more hatching here. I was gonna do like a different summertime spread with Masaki and Kaisen, but I'm still not able to find what colors I want to draw Kaisen with in terms of using my water-based markers, since I like to usually use the darker colors for mostly line work or like small accents or something like that. But because Kaisen has majority of dark colors, it does make it a little bit hard for me to find a good balance between what I can use for his line art and what works for his color scheme. So I've been looking at jet pens on their website, and I believe they have like a very kind of earth tone muted color like marker set. So I might look into getting that in the future. If I'm ever wanting to get something else on jet pens, maybe I'll add it to my cart as well. But for now, I might experiment on what colors kind of look well to represent him from my current stash of markers. Okay, I think that's it I'm gonna do for the current larger Masaki. I definitely want to make some more summer themed, or like, yeah, I guess it's more like summer themed since it is summer for me right now. Illustrations for my OCs. I think it'd just be fun to play with their attire, maybe some different color combinations or aesthetics. But let's move on to our little chibi versions. So I always like to start with the eyes. Can you guys even see? Maybe slightly better angle? Maybe? Sometimes when inking, my hand is like right in front of the camera, so I feel like the up view does not always work. So hopefully this is a little bit of an easier view for you guys to see. That's another thing I didn't really return back to after I stopped doing like so much 17 fan art in my sketchbook, because I usually like drawing like little cute moments or like different scenes and stuff from their music videos or from Going 17. But because I just stuck to just watching things rather than having to pause and having to draw like the certain moments and stuff, I haven't really drawn too many chibi versions of any character that much in my sketchbook. Which is something I kind of miss because they can get very derpy and very cute. Maybe I'll do like a whole spread of just like one of my OCs. of just chibi versions of them and just see how much of the spread I can actually fit in. I don't know why he feels so like bare bones. Maybe it's because I didn't add enough contrast with the line art. This is probably good enough for this one. Let's move on. So this one I kind of botched when I put in the green. So I'm gonna try my best to separate his eyes a little bit more so they're not so close together. I didn't add the mole to this Masaki. I don't think I planned out where his ear is. Maybe like the rest of his skull. Oh, I also heard that Witch Hat Atelier is getting an anime. I'm super excited. I'm still trying to catch up with the manga, but I was talking to my friend because she finished the manga way faster than I have. Because she's like really speedy at reading. She like reads everything. She reads like any type of manga. But she says she's really enjoying it. So I'm excited to continue reading it eventually. And kind of prep myself for the upcoming anime. So he's kind of taking a nap. Start off with his eyes and then his hair. I do like adding more contrast if I can with the line art. So I might go back and fix some of the other ones a little bit more if I can. I also want to revisit Akemi siblings because I haven't drawn them since that one video. I want to see if I've forgotten how to draw them because that is also another telltale that I might need to fix their designs a little bit more so that they become a little bit easier for myself to draw. Sleepy boy. Let's see, how did I... My lines are so messy, I can't really see where I placed certain parts. I'm assuming this is all of his sleeve. Do we have our ball hand here? You can see it doesn't really mix well though if you do that. Like I said, I wanted to add a little bit more contrast. I think it's just also this blue I just really like present in this spread, so the more the merrier for this color. Okay, last but not least is the scuba diving one. It kind of gives me a little bit of Animal Crossing in terms of like, look what I found. So let's put in our little... And darken up our corners a little bit. Kind of give it that contrast. Put his thumb here and his hand here. And I don't know why, it just felt wrong to draw him topless. Even though he's in chibi form. I feel like I would have no problem if it wasn't in chibi form. It just looks funny otherwise, I feel like. So I decided to put him in more like the full wetsuit. Fill these in so that they don't get too flat. Every time I take a break from like sketching in my sketchbook, I do always end up missing sketching in my sketchbook. It's just more freeing and fun. Sometimes when I draw digitally, I delete the file if I don't like how it's coming out. While with my sketchbook, I don't really give myself that option. Like, I rarely tear out images or drawings in my sketchbook. Mostly because, like, flip the page, move on kind of idea. but also like in the future, like it's nice to look back on, or potentially maybe you want to fix it up at like a later point where you have fresh eyes. It's also a good way of like potentially wanting to salvage a piece rather than, if you dislike it right away, chucking it out. Because you don't know what potential that sketch or doodle or whatever it was had, because you got rid of it so quickly. Okay, I think that's it for our little line art, which means you're pretty much done with this particular spread. I'm thinking if I wanted to add text, but because I filled up the entire spread, I don't think there's really any room. So a little bit of a close-up. So some areas I wish I added a little bit more contrast to. But overall, I think this spread actually turned out pretty cute. The colors are a little bit splotchy, but I feel like that's a given with the water-based markers. But I think it actually turned out pretty okay in terms of a more not planned kind of spread. I kind of want to add a little bit though. Blue or like this green to the floaty. I don't know, it just looks a little flat compared to the orange. But I think that's it for today's little session though. Yeah, let's see how many pages I actually have left in here. So besides the back cover, which will be this portion, so I will count this manila side. So let's say we have 1 spread, 2 spreads, 3 spreads, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 7 spreads, and then the back's page, obviously, for probably the final video for the sketchbook. But if you did stay until the end, let me go ahead and pack this one up. I'll show you a slight sneak peek of upcoming notebooks. So I ended up not restocking some of the older designs. I mean like this one's not exactly old. It was like my most recent one technically, but I didn't restock any of my designs that I've already put out. So all the ones that I'm doing for the next store update will be new ones entirely, and then later on, either in the winter, I'll plan for like a winter sale, or I will do early 2025. It was just kind of like timing wise. I was scared I wasn't going to get things in time if I ordered too many at once. So we have this one. So like forget-me-nots. This is kind of what the spine looks like, and we have their back. Next we have the hydrangeas. I don't know how to say the flower's name anymore. Our spine. I actually really like this one, it's super cute. Last but not least, I have these two. So one is a sticker book and the other one is a carrot version. So initially I was going to bring this to the carrot market because I think it would have been cute to have there, but it didn't come in time. So I will have these on the store as well. It says 100% carrot on the back until the last say the name on this side. Or I guess this was a spine. Yeah, and then we have our sticker book, which I'll make more in the future potentially. So this is kind of just the test run to try out the quality. And once again, these were made with Vogue Grace, so do check them out if you're interested in making any kind of like merchandise for your brand, or just for fan art, or for yourself, or for friends. Definitely check them out. So I think that's it for today. So I'll talk to you guys next time in the next video. Bye!